Welcome everyone. We're going to cover stock market technical analysis, really determine what the charts are telling us, where the market's heading potentially in the near future. Everything's probabilities, but the charts give us the best guide to go off of. So we're going to use various indicators to find out where we think the market's going. I'm going to point out various trade ideas that I see in the charts right now. Real quick though, I will be doing a live session tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Feel free to join. And that live session is all about just Q&A. And really, I look at charts that subscribers are pointing out, asking for analysis on, and we just spend about an hour going through some charts. So feel free to join. Should be good information out of there. And usually we find some good trade ideas for the next week in those sessions. And then the other thing is, guys, leave a thumbs up and then check out my course in the description below. You'll see the link right in the description below. That's my training course. I go through the technical analysis techniques that I use in these videos. Okay, let's get right into the charts. Triple Qs. You can see here on the daily, they're popping it right here. They're popping this range. If you look at the hourly, we've been chopping around, kind of holding resistance right here on this level at about 334. All week we've just bounced around that level. Today they're kind of starting to pop it above. As far as I can tell, Qs is coming in for a full back test of this broken trend line on the daily chart. So here's your March 2020 lows. There's your trend line. We held support, and it looks to me like Qs wants to run up and do a back test and make that marginal all-time new high. That's what it looks like as of right now. So I'm expecting us to pop just briefly above 342.80, maybe come in right about here next week. And if we do that, then what we will have is a divergent high. So if we hit that trend line, we will be running right into resistance, and we will do it with negative divergence. Let me go ahead and mark that out here. You'll see that the PPO and the RSI will come in, make a slightly new high in price, but will be less momentum. And so look for negative divergence to be intact when we run right into resistance. And that's the objective area to short at. So just queuing that up, I will be likely looking at taking a short up in there if we get there. All right, moving on to the SPY. This one's been back testing all week. And you can see the green line, that's your March 2020 lows. Held support right through here. A couple tags of that. Broke support, and then we've just been back testing. So again, if the Qs runs up, the SPYs are probably going to run up here and pop the all-time high at 424. We're probably going to pop above this level, running right into resistance with negative divergence. See the negative let me get the right tool. The negative divergence will likely show up at the all-time new high. So any new high anytime soon is going to be a divergent high. So keep an eye on that. That's likely an objective area to short that as well, in my opinion. So things to look at. Small caps it has a ways to go. So I'm not so sure small caps is going to make an all-time new high. All right, we're back testing the broken trend line off the March 2020 lows. Support. We broke support and we're back testing. So I think small caps really, it could go a little higher, but I think it's likely going to get rejected somewhere around here. But it's probably just going to muddle around and grind higher along this trend line while the other large caps do those back tests and make those marginal new highs. All right, that's what I got on the indices. So I'm looking for back tests and objective areas to short, and I pointed those out. I want to jump over to the dollar real quick and gold. We had a false breakout today. This is the dollar futures DX, and if I go to the hourly chart, you can see that we have this trend line right here, a downtrend line on the dollar. So the dollar's been trending down, and you can see the price action recently. We do have bullish divergence on this hourly chart on the dollar. You can see the divergence has been building here on the RSI. And also on the PPO. So we've been making a series of lower lows, but momentum has been starting to build. However, so that that indicates that you're going to have a breakout or a trend reversal. And that's what they made it look like it was going to be today. This is a breakout here. They sold it off and it failed, and it's actually back below. So no dice. That's actually false breakout right there. That's pretty bearish in general. So keep an eye on that, because if that holds and we close the day and the dollar actually doesn't break out, then that could be, that could be a pretty negative sign. Now, my trend line could be slightly off. We could move the trend line maybe down to here, and if I do that, then it's not a false breakout. It's actually a back test. All right, so it's too close to call right now, but I'm just saying, look for where this heads next. We're right at this level. If it's going to be a breakout, then we should start to move higher from right here. If we continue to move lower, that is going to be a false breakout. So I want to point that out. And then looking at gold typically moves inverse to the dollar. And you can see my gold chart. This is my gold bullion chart. You can see we broke down. They're starting to recover this trend line. Now, again, it's really close to the trend line, too close to call almost. But if gold continues to move higher, again, false breakdown in gold, which is pretty bullish to see a false breakdown in gold. And I think the gold miners are all going to benefit from that. Now, again, Barrett Gold, I've been looking at trying to get this thing a little lower. We might have just seen that today when they opened up down here. I don't know if it's going to get, I have it circled as a potential buy area. But again, that's a trend line that's not a verified trend line, because we only have 2 data points. 1, 2. You need at least 3. So it was just a potential. It doesn't have to be the actual, it doesn't have to be a trend line. We might have seen the lows on this one, and now we're going to move higher. Something to pay attention to. So again, maybe a false breakout in the dollar and a false breakdown in gold. That would be bearish for the dollar and bullish for gold. So we're going to watch that. All right, flipping over to financials, XLF. This is a key sector I've really been watching for breakdown. Don't have it yet. You can see pretty much for the last 2 weeks, we've just been grinding along support right here. So this trend line is going to come off, this really comes off October area, but basically when it started the uptrend, you've got several reactions along this trend line on the daily chart, 1, 2, 3, and then all through here. So a very verified trend line. We have negative divergence in the RSI and the PPO. It's telling us we're going to get a break, but we don't have that breakdown yet. So there's no sell signal. We just have to wait for that breakdown. And still holding. And looking at some of these other stocks, like here's Wells Fargo, you can see this is probably about 2 weeks. We're just grinding the trend line. Not really moving up, not breaking down. So it's right there on the edge. It's about to break. It just hasn't. We just need a catalyst to break down. And then here's Ally Financial, same thing, kind of grinding higher. Again, we need that catalyst. But all these financials have negative divergence. They're really losing a lot of momentum and not able to really move up too much. They're just kind of grinding along the trend line, continuing to wait for that breakdown. And then the same goes for the industrials. Negative divergence on the PPO. I think we're going to make a slightly new high on this XLI, just right up in here. I think we're going to break when we get up in this area. Because what that's going to do is also put in negative divergence on the RSI. So a new high will be, if it happens anytime soon, negative divergence on this RSI. So I'm kind of looking for that. So we could grind a little bit more next week, and then we'll watch for that break. But both of those sectors look like they're right on the edge, ready to go, and we just need that catalyst. A lot of these short trade ideas just continue to really do the same thing. Boyd Gaming, it could want to, I could see us going a little higher. I think we're getting close to the end of this counter trend rally. I'm viewing this as a counter trend bounce. The trend was up. This is your uptrend here on the daily chart. Here's your break-in trend right there. That break-in trend came with negative divergence. So there's your divergent high. You have negative divergence. So you break trend, you get a counter trend bounce. That kind of, makes people question whether they should have shorted. And then it continues the trend. So I'm just viewing this as a counter trend bounce. We could go a little higher, potentially just overshoot this breakdown candle right here. We could pop maybe slightly above there. I think we'll fail right in there about 67.30 and 68, somewhere right in there, start to fail and roll over if it's even going to get up that high. There is always the potential to run up and do a full back test of the trend line. Again, that's a ways up there, so you may not want to ride that one out, but that's another 13-14% up there. But if it was going to get up there, that would be an objective area to short this thing. I don't think it's going to get there, but we'll see. I think likely this will probably be about the high is 67.30, 68, somewhere right in there. Carvana is kind of bouncing around. There's, again, Carvana has just been going sideways basically in a big, wide, choppy range for quite some time. So we're just going to continue to, I'm still looking at this as some more downside. Just kind of riding that one out. John Deere continues to bear flag. So you'll see here that, we're just flagging out for the last 2 weeks, basically. So I'm looking at more downside. Next level of support on this, where I think we're heading in the near future, about 318, we'll call it. DraftKings continue back-tested resistance today. I adjusted my trend line slightly today. I think I had it maybe down here, but I moved it up just a little bit to give me a more clear picture. But again, we ran into that 200-day moving average that I was talking about in the yesterday's video, that I thought we were going to run up, hit the 200, and then likely going to get rejected. So far, that's where we've been rejected. Not super impulsive rejection. We could chop around this for a little bit. But, this is a doji candle right there. That's a doji candle showing a potential reversal. So you want to look for confirmation, which confirmation would come in the form of another red candle the next day. So Tuesday, because the market's going to be closed on Monday. All right, so that is DraftKings. Again, I think we get rejected in this area and sell down. Next level of support, 35.40. It's 35.50 right in there. Nothing going on with Mosaic. Neo. Yeah, Neo looks like it wants to run up and backtest this resistance. 41.50 should be resistance. And then, again, I'm still looking for lower prices in Neo, down to 22. All right, this is really this is my target, is down here. So I'm going to stay with this one and let this kind of trade out. Starbucks, backtesting resistance. Again, we've been back. Nothing's changed on this one. We're just here, backtested the trend line for the last 3 days. You have a trend line right there, and you basically broke trend. So there's your sell signal. Slight negative divergence on the PPO and on the RSI. Broke trend, sell signal, and then we've just been backtesting ever since. So looking for a clear rejection. All right, a nice clear rejection and follow through. First levels, and I think we trade down to the 200-day moving average and the support line at about 101. We'll say about 101.30. I still like that one. Snap, I don't know what Snap's doing. It's kind of, they're making it look like it's going to break, but it's not super impulsive. It's up 1%, almost 2%. Not a breakout candle, all right? So I suspect they sell this off into the close, but if they don't, maybe they'll gap it down on Tuesday. I don't know. But right now you have this downtrend line. They're trying to pop it above. Again, it's not impulsive, so we'll watch, but it's not, I don't know. It looks like like a stop rate to me. I think it's likely they're going to gap down. I'm going to stay with this one short for right now, just to see if we get that false breakout. Toll Brothers backtesting trendline support. So again, here's your March 2020 lows, and you can see we held support here, finally broke. So there's your sell signal, and that sell signal came with negative divergence. See, we made a new higher high in price, but it was on lower momentum in the PPO and the RSI. So there's your sell signal, backtest 1, backtest 2. Looking for this to roll over. All right, you can continue to backtest. Nothing says you can't continue, but again, it just keeps getting rejected at resistance. So when you're at resistance, that's the objective area to short. If you shorted right here at this resistance, you would have been profitable, and I think that will be the same. Right up in this area, in my opinion. So I think I'm looking for. I'm really looking for a move down to 50, 50 or so. The 200-day moving average. Run down to there. That's our objective target for right now. Tesla is just grinding at resistance right here. Sorry, wrong tool. But Tesla is basically grinding. Tesla could pop and do a back test. Anything's possible, especially with Tesla. It's a high momentum stock. So when the momentum starts moving to the upside, they just run it straight up, and same with the downside. Could back test this trend line up around 700, 720, something like that, and then roll over. But I am looking for I'm looking for prices down to 460. Basically, we're in the middle of the range right now, so it's really just there's nothing to do, you know. If you're short, I would just stay short in my opinion. If you're long, I wouldn't want to be long because we broke the major trend. We broke this trend line right here. But if you're long, you're in the middle of the range, you could get a back test. That would be the objective area to maybe exit that long, potentially flip short. And Winnebago, again, you can see that we popped resistance today, but they came back in and closed it, you know, didn't close, but it's back below resistance as of right now. 73.60, and looking for lower prices. AMD, and I'll wrap with this one, but AMD, you can see, you know, it held support right there at 73.52, and it, you know, we haven't broke that support yet. We did have bullish divergence, very slight bullish divergence right here. If I can just mark that out, get the right tool, and on the RSI and on the PPO right there, and you know, that was your divergent low. But again, I think this divergent low is going to fail. I'm not interested in really being long this. What I'm looking for is a break of this support. Now, I'm not short right now on AMD because I closed it down here at support when it didn't want to break. But I am, you know, and I'm not going to reshort it, but I am looking for, I'm not going to reshort it till I get a sell signal. So again, sell signal will come on a break of about 73, 75. And I think we have a swift move down to 59. So that's the trade range, and I'm looking for that. I'm looking for that to show up. What I can, as far as I can tell in a lot of these markets, is everything's just sitting on that shelf, really just the edge of support. It looks like it's about to go over the edge, but it's, you know, it's bending, but it hasn't broken yet. So if we break, we're likely going to see a lot of these trade ideas that I've pointed out all break at once. And that's a lot of the time how the broad-based sell-off really happens, is everything's just right there, and then it all goes at once and flushes out very quickly. So it's important to really be ready for that, and be ready for that move, because oftentimes when you see that quick move down, there's a lot of gains to be made to the downside. And a lot of profit to be lost if you're long, and it happens very quickly. So it's important to just be on point and get ready for it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's set up that way. The market's really set up in a lot of different sectors to, for that broad-based sell-off. So if it shows up, you'll know, I've been talking about it for a couple weeks now, or, looking for that. And so you'll know what to do, I guess. That's really the point of these videos, is to prep everyone for, if that shows up, you'll know how to, you just have to act at that moment. And we can't analyze or look for headlines and wonder why the market's selling off. That's what retail traders do. They look for headlines and go on CNBC.com while they're losing a bunch of money and try to understand what the news tells them why it's selling off. No, we just act because we know the charts are set up to sell off, so we just act based on what the charts are telling us. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. Catch you on the live stream tomorrow. Again, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out. I do appreciate that. Leave a comment if you want me to respond, and check out the training course if you guys haven't already done so. There's a lot of value in that course. It's well worth your time, and well worth $100. All right, guys, catch you on the next one. Bye.